They'll have an open practice today beginning at 4:30. 4:30 to 6 o'clock is their practice time, and it is open for the media. Having said that, we'll get started with our last team now. It's the North Carolina A&T Aggies. They are the number 15 seed in the Albany region, 23-8 overall. They were 15-1 in the MEAC. This is their 4th NCAA appearance. Representing the Aggies today is head coach Terrell Robinson, student athletes Zakoria Foy, Kayla Green, and Alexis Lasears. Coach, if you go ahead and make an opening statement, please.
Yeah, just my young women are excited to be a part of this the NCAA's, and a 15 seed. We weren't expecting that, but we're excited to have it, and obviously playing the defending national champions. We're up to that challenge, and we'll be ready to play tomorrow.
Open up for questions for just the student athletes at this time. If you raise your hand, we'll get a microphone to you. Jeffrey with the first one.
Kayla, what do you remember about the 2016 appearance, and what lessons did you learn from that game that you can bring into tomorrow night?
I'm thinking about the 2016 game. We were really just trying to keep our minds thinking that it's another basketball game that we're playing. We prepared the right way, and all we have to do is go out there and execute what we were prepared to do. Coming in, I think it's just going to be important that we continue to communicate on defense and stop them in transition.
Other questions? Go ahead. All right, Greg, go ahead.
For any of you guys, how much have you seen from South Carolina, and what's going to be key to pulling off a big upset?
I'll answer that one. As we know, number 22, Ms. Wilson, is the national player, and so key is really stopping her, and that's my duty. So.
I also think that making sure we keep them out of the paint, because I know a lot of their guards attack the basket, and making sure that we stay down and guard the ball rather than fouling and send them to the free throw line.
Go Joe and then Ben.
CC, you kind of are the tone setter for the perimeter defense. What is kind of your perspective going in to stop a Ty Harris from kind of initiating the offense that South Carolina wants to run through Wilson?
For the most part, Coach Robs constantly says to me that I have to be intense on defense. So I just need to make sure that I stay intense and be aggressive, as well as the rest of the team, not just myself.
Ben.
What do you sort of expect from playing in the kind of atmosphere they can have in this building? And do you guys have any experience this year playing in this kind of gym?
Well, I'm trying to think. We play Auburn, I believe, in their gym, and it wasn't as bad. Like, I don't think that we get scared by the bright lights. I believe that we stay true to ourselves and continue to, huddle up and communicate, make sure we understand what's going on the floor. That way we can stay together and execute the game plan.
Any other questions for the student athletes? If not, you can go back to your locker room, please. Thank you. We'll open it up for questions for Coach Robinson. Again, raise your hand. We'll get a microphone to you. Jeffrey with the first one.
I asked you kind of the same question, Coach. I mean, what in 2016? What can you take from that experience to make this team better when they face probably what will be a similar thing Friday night?
I think with this group, they've proven that they don't have stage fright. What Kayla talked about, the Notre Dame game. I jokingly make this comment about when we walked into the gym to practice. They have the big shamrock up under the scoreboard, and our kids was like, ooh, and by then you're down by 20. And you're trying to fight your way back into the game. But in this situation right here, we played 2 SEC teams this year, and we're competitive games. It came down to the last 2 minutes against Georgia at our place, and the game got away from us where we lost by 10 up at Auburn. So I don't think my group is not up to the challenge. Obviously, South Carolina is a little better than Auburn and Georgia in terms of their personnel, but we prepared the same way, and we'll go about it the same way in terms of being ready to play. So I'm confident my young women will be ready.
Go Joe, and then go ahead, Greg, and then Joe.
Oh,
sorry.
With someone like Asia Wilson, what's going to be key for your team to stopping her?
Man, prayer, faith. You know, Asia, she's a dynamic player. Like, you know, she plays the post, but we all, you know, you guys get to watch her every day. You know, has a guard skill set. You know, so first things first. You know, with her height, we got to try to keep her out of the paint, limit her paint points. You know, we know she's going to get touches. I appreciate Alexis Lassier saying that it was her job. It is our job to try to slow her down. It's not just up to Shug, but you know, but it's just not her. You know, the other young lady alongside her is pretty good too. So we've just got our hands full, and we've got a scheme that we're gonna throw at them, and hopefully it works out.
Joe.
Coach, looking at the big picture of your season, you've only lost once since the new year. What can you kind of put your finger on as the turning point transitioning out of non-conference into conference that's kind of led to the success? Just
maturity. You know, for us, non-conference gets us ready for conference, and we played a really good schedule, competed every game, and you know, and it just transitioned over to conference, and we got the results that we got. And like I said, I think this group is confident. You know, when you've won 19 of your last 20 games, you don't really see yourself losing. So I think we'll get off to a great start, and then it's just a matter of you know, us doing our part and South Carolina not doing theirs, you know, and not playing well. That's what it's going to have to take for us.
Any other questions for Coach Robinson? Go ahead, Jeffrey.
You know, you mentioned in your opening statement you were pleasantly surprised to end up with a 15 seed, but you know that a 16's beaten a 1 in the women's tournament, but a 15's never beaten a 2. So is there a little bit of an edge to that kind of surprise, or? Yeah,
you know what? This for me, I thought this worked out for us in terms of, you know, I wanted to come here because I wanted our fans to be able to travel. When we went up to South Bend 2 years ago, we didn't have a huge fan base, and I think that plays a role too. If we have our fans behind us, competing in this atmosphere, you know. So now we're excited. We're excited about, you know, the opportunity, and then we're excited about, you know, our seeding. And I have a young group, so you know, I have 7 sophomores, 1 freshman, 1 junior, 3 seniors. You know, so we plan on being back here, and hopefully, you know, not a 15 seed, but even higher seed.
Joe.
I'm sure you've watched plenty of game tape in the interim since your conference tournament. Looking at the matchups in this game going into tomorrow night, where do you feel that your team actually might have an advantage and that you're going to look to exploit a little bit?
Well, believe it or not, I feel like our advantage is also their advantage. They're post players. You know, we have a couple of stretch forwards that can shoot the ball, and you know, we watch how they defend on balls, and you know, and even, you know, transition. Every post player just kind of instinctively runs into the paint. So we're going to try to push the ball down and try to score quick before we allow them to get set into their offense. But yeah, and even, you know, in terms of their guards, you know, their tendencies, obviously the game is slowing down because they're looking for their best player who happens to be, you know, on the post or at the free throw line. So those type of things we talk to our young women about. You know, we know what they're trying to do, and we just got to stop them from doing it.
Anything else for Coach Robinson? All right. Oh, hold it. We got one more in the back. Go ahead, Emery.
Coach, you talked about previously the 2 SEC teams that you guys played, and you were competitive in that game. Just how much confidence, you know, do you take from being able to play against teams like that and coming into this game? How much confidence does your team kind of take from those games coming into this particular game?
I think those games, as I was talking about earlier, carried over into to our conference play. You know, the thing that we talked about is we played, you know, better teams than teams in our league, you know, and the same thing, you know, like I said, we won 19 of our last 20 games. You know, so there's a certain aura about that in terms of, you know, feeling like what you do is good enough. And that's stuff that we talk to our young women about all year, that what we do is good enough, and we just got to go out and believe and do it and execute. This game for us, you know, playing a team that won a national championship is really a measuring stick for us, you know, for our culture and the things that we pride ourselves in. It's going to help, again, my young women, you know, get better, and obviously help our seniors, you know, as they go out if they're able to do something special, which is, you know, upset this team.
Anything else for Coach? All right. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Good luck.
All right. Thanks.